Hey, this is Kelly from Australia Wide Retreats, and today we're talking with Melissa about her upcoming Soul Voice Advanced Sound Initiation Retreat being held at Byron Bay in July. Hey, Melissa, so good to have you here with us.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for having me.
Okay. So, before we get into more about this particular retreat, how did you get started with this kind of stuff in the first place?
Wow, that's a very interesting story. I've been doing Soul Voice for 19 years, and I first met the founder, Karina Sheld, at Woodford Folk Festival, of all places. Um, she literally walked into my tent while I was having a break, and asked for help. And wow, long story short, I listened to some of her sounds on a CD, on a Walkman. This is how long ago it was. Um, and I just, my whole body was in goosebumps, and I just had this voice within me that said, Melissa, you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. And the human me went, what? No way. I cannot do anything like this. I cannot use my voice. I don't want people to hear me. But I knew on a soul level. And so, yeah, that was 19 years ago. And here I am, a teacher. I was a certified practitioner, and then went further to do the teaching. And that is why I am running the 6-day advanced sound initiation.
Oh, when you said you listened to her sounds, what does that mean? Sounds.
So while she went and enjoyed Woodford, I was still on a break. She had a CD with her sounding. So it's, overtones and just intuitive sounding that comes out. So this is recorded, obviously.
Sounding of
Um,
her voice from her.
yes, her own voice.
Okay.
So that's what I teach. I teach people to how to use their own voice. And my daughter says to me, she's 12, she says, "Oh, it's just so you can feel good, mum." That's true. It is so that you can feel good, but it's also that you can start to channel and use your voice as a healing instrument.
Okay, nice. All right. So let's get into the upcoming retreat. What dates are they in July again? 2025?
We start on Sunday the 13th at 4 o'clock. We arrive 4 o'clock and have dinner, and then get into it straight away after dinner. And we finish on the last day is Friday the 18th and of July, at 4 p.m. So it's a pretty full-on retreat. We're there in the workshop space from pretty much 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. with breaks, of course, and sounding, and more sounding.
Wow, those are big days, but with breaks, yeah. And what is this? Five,
Yes.
6 days?
Sorry?
How long is that? 5 or 6 days?
Oh, it's 6 days and 5 nights.
Oh, no, okay, yeah. Wow, wow, that's huge. All right.
It
And
is.
this place, yeah, at Byron Bay, whereabouts in Byron are you having this
Actually,
happen?
hmm, it's actually called Nest Byron Bay, but it's in the hinterland. So it's I believe the closest town is Mullumbimby.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. And what will be involved? What are people going to be learning there?
Well, put really simply, they're going to be learning how to use their own voice for self-healing and also healing on other people. We use our voice to shift energy, and that can include negative beliefs and old patterns, stuck emotion, anything that's stuck in the body that can be moved by sound. And working on the adage of you are your own best healer, your voice is your own best healing voice. So, for instance, um, when you learn how to use your voice for healing, it's a completely organic process. You're tuning into yourself energetically.
Okay. I want to clarify something. So,
Yep.
using your voice, you're not talking about saying your words, but you're talking about using your voice in a way like a octaves type thing or oming or
Yes.
something like that. How do you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So using our voice as a sound healing instrument. which means sometimes our sounds are pretty. So we use dissonant sounds. The dissonant sounds can be more specific depending on what energy you're working with.
And what would
Um,
that be healing in our own body when we're doing dissonant sounds? What are we healing there? For an example.
as an example, you can heal, well, basically can heal anything.
Yeah.
What you're doing is with your body, you are tuning into whatever energy is there that needs to be released or let go of. So when you tune in, say for instance, I can close my eyes and I'm tuning in, and at the moment, I'm sensing there's a little bit of tightness in my left shoulder. So in this instance, what I would do is I can place a hand on my shoulder and make the sounds that want to come out of it, which would be something like this. So it's about connecting in with our own body and expressing what wants to be expressed. So, for instance, my shoulder can't say, "Hey, I'm really hurting because you've overworked me yesterday and I need some time out or I need some healing." But with my sounds, when I go into that part of my body and I tune into what's there, sometimes for me, I hear phrases, I hear words, but more often than not, I hear sounds. So I simply allow those sounds to come through me. So that's what the teaching of soul voice is all about in this particular workshop, is allowing the sounds that need to come out to shift the energy so that you are living your fullest, best version of yourself.
Oh, so for example, as energy healers, we might use a medicine drum and the vibration of the drum or the koshi chimes or whatever. But in this
Yep,
instance, we're using our own voice as the instrument to shift energy. So we don't have to go out and buy all this other stuff. We're carrying it within us and we've got access to
that's
this
right.
tool 24/7 whenever we need. Okay, what about people that might come to do this workshop, this retreat with you, and if they don't know how to hear what their shoulder might be saying, the sound of something, what happens there? Do you teach them how to hear?
Absolutely. So the exercises that we do that not only warm up the voice so that we can tune in, um, also teach us how to listen more. We do a lot of what we call active listening in our workshops and trainings. So it's not just working with learning how to use your voice to do sound healing. It's more a self-development. So we're working on ourselves so that we can tune in better to ourselves and therefore other people when we're working with other people later, um, to hear what's going on. But there's also an element of we have to step out of our thinking brain, get into our bodies and allow. So for me, some people have said, "Oh, you just channel sound." And yes, absolutely, I channel sound, but I channel it from within, not from out there when I'm working on my healing body. There are other times when I do channel from outside, but yeah, this is a training. This 6 days is a training where people learn to be in that space to be able to use their own voice for self-healing.
Mhm. Well, after they've learnt, do you also teach at the retreat how to use their voice for healing of another person as well? Or is it just specifically for
Absolutely.
self? Oh,
Well, we start off with self-healing, but during the retreat, there's exercises for individuals. So guided exercise, I'm there the whole time. I have two assistants with me who are both accredited teachers, soul voice teachers. And so we give individual exercises, warming up the voice, stretching the body. There's a lot of breath work as well. And then we do partner exercises. So we will we always come around, the three of us always come around and check that everyone is in a good space and is doing what we've set out within their own parameters, because this is an individual thing for most people. It's everyone's voice is different and everyone sounds in different ways. And no two people sound exactly the same, even if they're working on exactly the same thing for themselves. So, yeah, individual exercises, partner exercises, and also small group healings. So, over the course of the 6 days, they get to work on their self and their own whatever it is they bring into the workshop as an intention, and then they partner up with people and do some really deep healing releases. And then, yeah, we also have the collective energy of the whole group is very supportive as well, but smaller groups, so groups of three, and yeah, different constellations over the 6 days.
Mm. I also just want to mention to those of you that are watching, I've seen some of your photos that I've going to put into here as well, not into the video, but into one of your showcases. And check them out, because the pictures in there of the people that have been to previous retreats with you, they look amazing. I mean, it just the look on their faces and the shift of the energy that they might be going through, you can see it. You can see things that are changing. So if this is something that you might be called to look more into, by all means, connect with Melissa. But I've got another question. Can sound be used on pets as well to shift energy in animals?
Absolutely. But I will say that comes with a cautionary warning. Dogs, I find, love when I sound. I don't have any pets at the moment, but dogs love the sounding. The cats tend to run the other way. Most of the time, I've only encountered one cat, a friend's cat, that actually stayed and yeah, loved the energy that came from the sound, as well as the stroking as well. Um, but I do have one really good example of when I went for a walk and I just sat down against a tree in a paddock, and I closed my eyes and I allowed the sound to come through, and I just I was out in the middle of nowhere, so I could sound as loud as possible. And I sensed after about 5 minutes that I was being watched. And when I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by cattle. They were like a meter away from me with their heads stuck down, just with their
Oh,
eyes looking at
wow.
me. It was amazing. It was a beautiful experience. I continued to sound and they didn't get any closer. I was in the paddock
Mm.
with them. Um, yeah, and they seemed to be very curious.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that is so cool. But okay, when we're working on our own bodies with our sound, let's say, for example, a sore stomach, and we're doing the sound for a sore tummy, whatever that might sound like. How do we know when that's shifted? Do we feel the shift in our tummy like instantaneously, or might it take a little while?
Well, both answers are correct. It might take a little while, or you could feel it instantaneously. I have another example here where I was actually working on my sister, and hopefully she'll never see this and know that I told people. But basically, yeah, she had a problem with some constipation after birth, and I think her baby was about 12 days old. She was very young. Anyway, she asked me to do some sounding on a tummy, and halfway through the sound session, which is usually in about an hour and a half, she pushed me out of the way and bolted for the toilet.
Wow, that is so good. It's so good. Yeah.
That does, that was an example of me using sound on someone else,
Mm,
because she didn't have the training, so
yeah.
she wasn't able to do the same thing. But that's just one example. Like there's been other times where I've worked with my daughter, um, who, by the way, has been sounding since she was born.
Ah,
Um,
nice.
so I've worked with her, and it's taken her a little bit longer to get some body reactions happening.
Okay, yeah. So everyone's different. So soul voice coming from our soul, our voice. But when we're working on another person, are we connecting with their soul for our voice, or how does that work? Or is it still all just
Okay.
us?
So soul voice is actually the name of the modality that I do.
Okay.
Yep. When we're working on another person or when we're working on ourselves, the wisdom still comes from within, but you're connecting with whatever universal wisdom, I guess you would say, or specifically when I am sounding on someone else, I'm making the sounds for them. What I'm doing is tuning into the energy in their body and then allowing whatever sounds want to come through to either match that energy or shift that energy. And that's where those dissonant sounds come in. Often the dissonant sounds will shift the energy quicker than anything else. So sending harmonious sounds into the body when you've got upset going on is fantastic because it's relaxing most of the time. It's relaxing and soothing. But when the energy needs to shift, that you're better off making like upset sounds, I guess you'd call them, so that that energy moves and is acknowledged, and then it can be released and healed.
Okay, cool. All right.
That
This
makes
sounds
sense.
exciting. Yeah, yeah, nice one. Okay, so more about the actual venue and what's happening. Is food provided or do they bring their own food?
No, food is provided, but I've got a really good vegetarian caterer who's really excited to be doing retreats again. So vegetarian meals, and she also caters for anyone who has special needs. Um, yeah, so that's included in the cost of the retreat.
Okay, and all accommodation as well. I'm
Yeah, so five
assuming, yeah.
nights, 5 nights, 6 days. Um, do you want me to
Are
say
they
the price or?
are they shared rooms or single rooms?
Oh, yeah, so shared rooms. Depending on how many numbers we get, we can take 15 people. It's shared rooms. There'll be no more than, depending on numbers, no more than three to a room, but as a general rule, it's only two people to a room.
Okay. And you mentioned a sauna or
Yes, apparently there's an infrared sauna, and there's also a hot tub. We are set
mm,
in the bush. It's quite a like it's a little. There's a clearing with the house, the massive house, and the yoga shala is separate. And then yeah, the sauna and hot tub are in a separate little building next to that. So
nice.
yeah, I do anticipate there'll be time for people to enjoy the infrared sauna and the hot tub. But also it's more about, spending some time out in nature, unplugging from the world. We do recommend digital detox in Soul Voice workshops so that you can have that time for yourself, just to completely focus on yourself.
Yeah, okay. And is this specifically for women or men and women or
Men and women. Um,
okay.
in Australia, we get more women doing these types of retreats and this work. But in Europe, it's more common to have men. We have two Italian soul voice teachers who are men,
Okay.
and we had a Danish one. Yeah, so it's more popular. I find that yeah, in Australia, we might have one man to every 12 women
Okay.
in our
Yeah.
retreats, and it would be nice to see more.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Excellent. So when people want to book this, what website would they go to find more out about what's happening with your retreat?
So there's a page on my website which is embodiedalchemy.com, and I've got a shop page there, but they can just contact me directly if they wish. Um,
Okay. I'll put
yeah,
I'll put a link in the video here and down below so people can reach out to you that way. Have you got a Facebook page as well that they might want to check out? Yep. Embodied
yep,
Alchemy.
Embodied Alchemy. That's my
Okay,
Facebook
just a wild
page.
guess.
And also, I have an Instagram page which is Sacred Sounder. And that page has actually more examples of what sounding is. So lots and lots of different shots of me sounding,
Okay,
if they want to
Sacred
get a better
Sounder.
idea.
All right,
Sacred
lovely.
Sounder.
Okay, so you hear that, everyone. You've got a bunch of resources to check her out. Check out Melissa, see what she gets up to and how it all works. And those photos, check out those photos. Honestly, it sounds absolutely divine what you've created here for people to be able to tap into their voice and using that as an instrument for healing for themselves and for others, except for cats, maybe, but who knows. See how they go. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
Um, I don't know. I guess all I will say is that there's got to be something in this soul voice thing because I've been doing it for nearly 20 years. And I'm not a person who will waste time on things. If something's not working, then that's it. It's not working, and I move on.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So you're going with what works. Nice. And a lot
Yes.
more people should and have the guts to try something new because there's so many new things coming through that, oh my God, as we get into the flow of it and what works for some might not work for others, but getting in and having a red hot go of all these different things that we have access to now and all the new energies coming through. Oh my God, I could go on and on. But we're
Yeah, well,
living in
look,
such
it's
wonderful times. Yeah.
and the one thing I'll say is that don't be afraid to use your voice. People are so afraid of hearing themselves or have other people hearing them because we have a lot of, well, my generation at least have a lot of issues around, being told to be quiet and, keep your voice down and children are seen and not heard, that type of energy. And so in the workshop, our sounds are embraced no matter what they are, no matter how pretty or unpretty they are. Yeah, and it would just be great if more people had the courage to be heard. Even just to hear yourself is an amazing
Mm,
thing.
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much for being here with us, Melissa. And
Oh, thank
as I
you,
said,
Kelly.
everyone, links are here to learn even more. Thank you again.